This podcast is brought to you by Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce. A great sauce starts with the best ingredients. Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce is that great sauce. Inspired by our founder's original recipe, Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce is made with delicious ingredients, including vine-ripened tomatoes, chopped onions, garlic, and olive oil, simmered together for the authentic taste you and your family will want to come back to. For recipes, sauces, and mealtime inspiration, visit ragu.com.
It's clearance season at Target. Save up to 70% off thousands of amazing finds like sweaters, sleepwear, outerwear, and shoes for the entire family. So shop the best clearance deals at Target, where low prices and great deals make it easy to save.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Christopher Media, let's make some noise. Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer, brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
Welcome to Beer Nuts, number 112. I'm Chris. I'm in Grand Island, Nebraska.
I'm Doug. I'm in Clawson, Michigan.
JR here on the island of Grosse Ile on the Canadian border.
And I'm Dan in Springfield, Missouri.
Two of us in the heartland and two of us in Michigan. All right, Chris. Well, thanks for the intro. Tonight we're going to stay in our theme of the month of September. We're doing October and September, focusing on beers inspired by German styles. And tonight we are just going to do just that, American craft beers inspired by Germany and German styles. So before we do that, we want to invite everybody to open up a cold beer and join us. We're not pretentious. Hey, if you're a Coors Light drinker, that's fine. If you're a beer snob, that's fine. And everybody in between. There's room for everybody at our table. So Prost, cheers, drink up, and we're going to pass it on to Doug out for our quote of the week.
All right. Here's the quote. Beer doesn't have many vitamins. That's why you need to drink lots of it. Here, here.
Yeah.
Then we always have plenty of vitamins after 112 episodes.
Plenty of vital nutrients in our bodies, and there will be plenty more after tonight.
Correct.
So let's get this party started. I think Dugout's going to lead us off here. We're just going to go through German styles. So tell us what you got, Doug.
All right. First beer I have is Schwarz beer, which is translated into German as dark beer. This particular one is a collaboration, listed as collaboration between Deschutes and Bell's Brewery. And the reason for this collaboration wasn't necessarily they were all wanted to get together and do a beer together or things like that. They're both too big. But it's Deschutes' 30th anniversary this year, and one of their lead brewers from way back when is now with Bell's Brewery, so hence the collaboration. Trying to get this writing on the can. The lighting's terrible. So profile. Yeah, that's basically a synopsis of what it is. It's 30 IBUs. It's 6%. And I opened the beer before the show started. Pours a nice, hefty, black as ink. Looks like like a stout wood. Very little light getting through it. Just a little bit of reddish hue on where the light does get through. Poured with a nice head. Some continued lacing on it. The nose of it is pure roasted malt. I mean, it's a beautiful smell. It's done with wheat, roasted malt, chocolate, black barley, roasted barley, Munich, and this is a lager. So, I mean, if you were to put all this stuff into an ale, you'd pretty much have a stout on your hands here. The hops are Northern Brewer and Tettnang, and again, the nose is just pure roasted malt. And the first sip just follows through on what I was smelling. It's just some nice dark roasted character, sort of like, I wouldn't say a pumpernickel bread because it doesn't have much breadiness to it. It's just, it's pure roast. It really reminds me of a stout. It's great for a little bit cooler weather. It's a cooler weather beer. There's just a little bit of hop tinge at the end of it, but just overall really nicely balanced. And this beer, in my opinion, is phenomenal. And you don't see a lot of Schwarzbier styles out there. And part of the reason we're all over the place tonight is because, we were having a little harder time finding some Bocks and Doppelbocks in the market. Everything seems to be very heavy right now with sours and gosas and fruit infused milkshake IPAs, and finding some beers that are truer to style is getting more and more difficult. And that's a shame, because some of these styles kind of take a back burner, and they're wonderful beers. They're great beers to drink, like this one. It's 6%, so you could put a few away. I did just buy one can, but I will be looking for more of this, that's for sure. Phenomenal beer. Absolutely amazing.
I'm just excited there's a collaboration between Bell's and Deschutes. They're at least top 5 breweries for me.
Yeah, Chris, I have a feeling you'll love this beer. It has a little hop to it, but nothing out of character for the style. It's just really, really well done.
Well, it's 2 breweries that make really well done beers.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. So JR.
Yeah, well, I just want to say, wish I had been able to find something a little darker. I really wanted to get a Dunkel or a Doppelbock, and it was one of the big findings when we were planning this episode. Originally, we were going to do Bocks and Doppelbocks, and we couldn't find any. Very few, anyway. So we opened it up to all German-inspired craft styles. And in our next show, next week, we'll be reviewing authentic German beers. That'll be a little bit easier, obviously. But anyway, so I'm going to move on to one of the styles that is readily available by many breweries, and it's an easy drinker, and it's a Kolsch-style ale. And the one I have here is from New Holland Brewing, called Full Circle Kolsch-style ale. 4.4% ABV. It says Full Circle is a crisp, refreshing celebration of New Holland's belief in balance. Biscuity malt character with a low hop profile and slight sweetness. Pair with seafood, corn, veggies, and mild white cheeses. So we're going to open this up. I know the Kolsch style originates from Cologne, Germany. So a true Kolsch beer must be brewed in the town of Cologne. It's very light and straw color, very good for hot weather. A nice crushable beer. It's only 4.4%. So this is good for this Indian summer. In these last few weeks that we've had some nice hot weather. So I'm pouring this in a glass. The date on this is May 29th, so it's a little bit not as fresh as I'd like it to be, but it's certainly not so old that it won't be drinkable. So I've got a very nice 2-finger head that is lingering for an extended time. It's not going down good, and nice carbonation. A nice pale yellow, pale straw color. See-through, not hazy at all. Very nice and clear, and that's what you'd expect with this style. So I'm checking the nose on it. Again, just very mild, almost smells like your typical light lager. Actually, nice little slight noble hops to it. So I'm going to take a sip. Yeah, and you get almost that little imported noble hop taste from it, and just a very nice light. I hate to say yellow fizzy lager because that would be a negative connotation, but that's pretty much the Kolsch style is actually not a lager. It's brewed with ale yeast, I believe, and it has the same characteristics as a lager, but it's so for home brewing purposes, it's great because you can brew a lager style beer without having to, you can use ale yeast and you don't have to lager it in a 32 degree vessel, a cooling unit. You can actually ferment this at room temperature. So it's to a lot of people it's probably nothing to write home about, but when brewed properly, this is a really crushable, very, we did our gateway beers. Certainly the Kolsch's of the world are perfect gateway beers. They have a little bit more depth to them than the domestic lagers that we're used to. And so it's got kind of the best of both worlds. You got a little bit more flavor, a little bit, you can tell this is kind of, even though it's not an import, it's almost got that little noble hop, like, German style flavor to it. So, and when a brewer brews this properly, it's a very well received style that you can serve to just about anybody. So I'm very much enjoying it. It's 85 degrees today, perfect for, a day like today to be outside and drinking these. And at 4.4%, you can actually have a few of them. So highly recommended. They've done a nice job with this. I have low expectations of this style, and this is a solid representation. It's kind of a style that you either nail it or you don't, and they've nailed it with it. So get my thumbs up. New Holland, not surprised. New Holland does a nice job. Has anyone else here had this?
No, sir.
Yes, I've had it, but it's been quite a few years. I believe it's one of the beers that they've never changed. They've just kept it true to style. I know they've reformulated some of their other flagships. It's I believe that one's seasonal, comes out in the summertime. A little harder to find in winter, but you might get some hanging around on some shelves. I think pretty much anything New Holland puts out is pretty decent. I mean, they've had a few stinkers, but for the most part, any of their flagship beers like that one are really, really solid, and they're good.
Yep, great session beer, great gateway beer, great beer. Really, you can drink it any time and introduce it to anybody. If you don't like this beer, you probably don't like beer at all.
Damn, strong words.
All right. Who's next?
I believe it's my turn. And I have another Kolsch from Kinkaider Brewing Company from Broken Bow, Nebraska. I got to Google here where that even is. But it is a Nebraska brewery. It's been around since 2014, according to the website. It says founded by 4 Nebraska boys, born and raised right here in the heartland. And it says Kinkaider Brewing Company emulates the pioneer spirit first settled with this wild stretch of land called the Sandhills over 100 years ago. Reading from the bottle, this is called Dan the Wiser. It is a Kolsch-style ale, because, not brewed in Germany, brewed in Nebraska. It says Dan the Wiser is a German-style ale that has some mild fruit-like flavors and aroma. An all-around great beer to be enjoyed just about anywhere, anytime. Dan likes to pour himself one after a dusty ride on his iron steed. My bottle was bottled on July 18th, so only a couple months old. It's 4.3 ABV. You pour it, and typical to the style, it's pretty pale. The head on mine has kind of been here the whole time. And you smell it, and JR, you kind of hit it on the head with your review. And it kind of smells like your typical regular old lager. But I'm getting a little bit, a hint of that fruit on the nose that they're talking about on the label. Let's take a drink of it. Nice and light and crisp. And it goes down easy. Getting a little, again, just a hint of that fruit on the aftertaste. And it was 93 out here today. Could have used one of these a few hours ago when the sun was beating on me while I was driving. But I was driving, I was working. But again, this kind of piggybacking on everything JR said. This would be another beer that if you're looking for somebody's trying to get into craft beer, give them a Kolsch style. It's kind of similar to what they're used to, but it's a little better in quality. So if you happen to run across Kinkaider, Dan the Wiser, pick it up.
I don't know about you guys, but I think that's a pretty solid name.
Dan the Wiser.
Dan, I wonder why.
It's a lot better name than Bud the Wiser. But this is just a this is a style, like I said, it's a very narrow. There's not much room to play around and make it something that it's not. A Kolsch is a Kolsch. It's very straightforward recipe. It's very simple. It's it's straight down the middle. Now I have seen some cloudy Kolsches. People getting it. They're doing the New England IPAs. They're trying to make Kolsches that are hazy and cloudy and more hoppy and stuff, but I don't think that would go over well in Cologne, Germany. I think that's more of a, let's start with a Kolsch and see what we can make it here in the States. But for the most part, I know shameless plug for Schoolcraft College, their American Harvest Kolsch has won many medals already. So those of you in Michigan, you can go out to Schoolcraft on Saturdays when the brew pub's open and pick that award beer up, either in growlers. Well, no, we don't have growlers, but growlers, 16-ounce cans or 12-ounce bottles. So enough with that, but that's one of our flagship brews out at Schoolcraft. That's our best seller, actually.
JR, is there any on-site consumption?
Absolutely, on Saturdays. And also when the American Harvest restaurant is open. But every Saturday, I think it's 5 to 9, the brew pub is open.
Sounds very cool. I wish we had something like that around here by me.
Me too. All right. Well, I think it's your turn, Dan.
All right. Well,
go back to the Heartland.
Back to the Heartland. I've got a beer that is called Blood Spree. It is from Rock Bridge Brewing Company. They are out of Columbia, Missouri. And if you look them up, check out their website and some of the their cans. They're all in cans only. It's the only way they've ever been. And they do some cool artwork. I there's a lot of different companies out there, and some of them are really wacky and weird. And I don't know. Some breweries, I'm not all too into some of their artwork. But this is kind of a little different and weird, but I kind of dig it. So this is a Berliner style Weiss ale. I'm just reading the can. Berliner style Weiss ale brewed with blood oranges, and that's why they named it Blood Spree. Blood, obviously, for the oranges, and Spree is the river that runs through Berlin, I believe, or through the state of Berlin. I'm a little rusty on my German history, but anyways, it's one of the main rivers there. And it is just a nice kind of, it's kind of a hazy orange. It's been sitting here for a couple of minutes in my glass. Gave it a good solid pour, and I can't really see my fingers through it. It's got a nice little orange color to it. And let me take a drink here. The blood orange is very mild. You get it a little bit on the nose. And then just a little bit of the sweetness in the very beginning, on the tip of your tongue is where you kind of taste the sweetness. And then it just kind of finishes and nice. It's not real tart. Some Berliners can be a little bit more on the tart side. I wouldn't go so far as to say sour, but this one is not at all. It's a very nice, easy drinker. I think I read earlier this is a 4, I should know this, I should remember this one. It's 4%, 4.5%, somewhere in that ballpark. And just a nice, easy drinker. Like we've all kind of alluded to, we've had kind of an Indian summer here, some hot weather, but this would have been nice today when I got off of work and I was working on my boat a little bit. This would have been great. I should have grabbed a couple of cans of these. This is very crushable. I wish there was a touch more of the orange flavor coming through, but to each his own. Some people probably would say no, they don't want that much fruit coming through in their beer, but it's a solid effort by them. They do a lot of things that I like. I'm taking another drink here. They have a milk stout with coffee and vanilla, and a saison and a rye IPA. So they're a younger brewery. They've only been around for a couple of years, and Columbia is kind of a college town. It's either college or politics and a little bit of everything there in the mix. But this is solid. They used to do 16-ounce cans. This was in a 12-ounce can today, so I don't know. I haven't had any of their beers for a couple of months, so I don't know if they've changed across the board or what the deal is there. But I will say this is completely not based on anything that has to do with beer, But I like more and more of the brewery different cans that are out there now with different colored tops. This one is black on the top. The whole top of the can has nothing to do with the beer, like I said. But the topper, the can, and the little thing you use to crack the can open with, it's all black. It just makes it look kind of slick. But anyways, yeah, solid effort from Rock Bridge Brewing Company, Blood Spree.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Makes me want one. Blood orange. Well, all right. Well, we've each had a beer. We're going to take a little break now because we haven't done any hipster tipster news in a couple episodes. Don't have a whole lot tonight. Well, Dan, as long as you're still talking, why don't you tell us about Zwanzi Day?
Yeah, it's if this is the first time you're hearing about Zwanzi Day, you might be out of luck to buy your tickets. I'm guessing they've all sold out by now. I don't know. Every location does it differently. So you're saying Zwanzi Day? What the heck's that? Well, there's this little brewery out of Brussels you might have heard of before called Cantillon, and they're kind of looked to by most as the go-to or the best in the world in sour beers, or if not the best, they're up there. And it used to be around the country in a lot of different places. You could just walk in and find them sitting on shelves. A lot of times they'd be kind of dusty bottles sitting on shelves. Well, then the craft beer revolution exploded, and you can't find Cantillon sitting on the shelves hardly anywhere anymore. I've heard about it in some places in the country. You can still find it. There's still even in some states you can do a mail order thing online if that's legal in your state. But in Missouri here, where I live in my little market of Springfield, you've got to, the only way you can buy Cantillon, because they only get it in such a tiny limited number anymore, is they just hold one or two events throughout the year, like a tasting event, say $25 or $40 or $50, whatever it is. And then you go, so you get to taste a bunch of different Cantillon bottles, and then everybody that's there gets the first option to buy a couple of different bottles of Cantillon. So anyways, long story short about Zwanzi Day, they do this every year worldwide, September 29th this year. They have, I don't know how many different kegs or bottles of Cantillon will be available, but you buy your ticket. I think it's $80 in a couple of places, or $100. I don't know. Don't quote me on the prices, but and then you buy your ticket and you get you're guaranteed several pours, and then there's a bunch of other beer that'll also be there also as well. And then so it's basically a beer fest, but it's Cantillon sour sort of Belgium inspired fest. So those are typically the places they like to have those events. And to give you an idea how big this is, it's in 20 different countries around the world. And in a lot of the countries, there's multiple sites. Like in America, there's like 20 or 30 different locations. And then in a lot of other countries, there's multiple locations. I don't know, I didn't take the time to count it out. There's probably 60 or 70 different locations that they're doing this Zwanzi Day all at the same time, September 29th. So next year, you guys should be on the lookout for it. It happens at the end of September every year. Side project in St. Louis is a location, and the first year American Solera is getting to host one in Tulsa. Those are the ones that are kind of close to me. So I wasn't able to make it, so unfortunately I'm not going. But yeah, it's a pretty cool event, pretty cool deal if you ever get the chance to go. I know a bunch of friends and stuff that have gone, and they love it. They try to go every year if they can. It's hard. Every place does it different on how they sell tickets. A lot of places sell out immediately, or they do a raffle, or they do just first come first serve. So people will like camp out overnight. It's it's a crazy deal. So it's a good time.
Yeah, there's one here in Michigan at Jolly Pumpkin Brewing Facilities out in Dexter, and you had it right on the price with $100. And there were tickets still available as of when this airs. I don't know, but there still were tickets available. I was very interested in going, and unfortunately, I got a vacation coming up, and I got to buy the airline tickets this weekend, and that was just not going to be in the budget. So sometimes life happens, and you can't do the beer fest you want. But it sounds amazing, and anybody gets the chance. That's like I said, if this airs before the 29th, you get the chance to get out to Dexter. I mean, even if they're listed as sold out, you can probably buy some at the door from somebody looking to move a couple passes along.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the lineup. I have this on my website pulled up right now, and it's amazing lineup of breweries. It looks like 30, maybe about 30 breweries, maybe 40 breweries here, and more. It says more coming soon, but great list of brews here, man. 18th Street, El Segundo, Allagash, Cantillon, 3 at Fontaine, Burial, Casey. I could go on and on. Holmes Brewery, Jackie O's. So, yeah,
nice.
This is definitely one of the big beer events of the year. One that I've never gone to. I don't think I'm going to make it this year either myself, but certainly any listeners get a chance to go to this event, don't miss. Especially if you're in the sour and hoppy beers.
And you might want to just bring along a couple rolls of antacids. Just saying, party kit for sour beers, man.
Yeah.
Good call there. So I just have one other item I wanted to talk about just today or yesterday. An article came out about some changes. Dogfish Head Brewing, one of my favorites from Delaware. Sam Calagione is one of the pioneers in craft brewing, the owner and CEO of Dogfish Head, founder. And they had a meeting recently at the National Aquarium in Baltimore, and they had them near the shark tanks, and they said that in order to stay alive, they're going to be aggressively changing their strategy on how they go to market, and specifically they are going to focus on 2 core brands. There's Sequench Ale, which is the top-selling sour beer in the U.S., and it is growing at 160% this year, and also their legendary 60-minute IPA, which has been out for a long time and sometimes gets lost in the shuffle. So I think they're going to rebrand that. I'm not sure whether just packaging or ingredients, but there's definitely going to be also another change for them is they're going to put the independent craft beer seal. We had an episode on not too long ago. They're going to put that on all their packaging, and they think that's a big deal to make sure people know that they're still an independent craft brewer and a member of the Brewers Association. And
JR, could you refresh people on what that is?
The Independent Craft Brewer Seal. Well, we did an episode on this. It's a seal that the Brewers Association allows all their members to use, and that means they are an independent craft brewer by the definition, and they are qualified for membership in the Brewers Association. So what that really means is it's independently owned, and it must be below 6 million cases a year. So independent, small, and traditional are the 3 criteria you must meet.
Can they have any outside ownership?
You can have up to 25% outside ownership, and a Dogfish Head has 15, I believe. But anything over 25, you're not allowed to be in the association. So, for example, Founders has a 30% ownership stake by a large brewery from Europe, from Spain. So they are not eligible to be in the Brewers Association. So by their definition, they're not a craft brewery. By mine, I think they still are. But so you will not see the independent craft beer seal on Founders products because they don't meet that criteria. But so when you go into a beer store and you see something with a seal, you can be certain that it's not like a faux craft, like owned by Anheuser-Busch InBev or Miller Coors or Heineken or one of the big, big beer companies, which try to trick you into thinking. Some of the brands that are owned by these companies are Shock Top, Blue Moon, Leinenkugels, Elysian, and Shark. So those are all brands that kind of try to represent themselves as a small craft brewery when in fact they're just part of the big macro beer conglomerates. So when you're in a beer store, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. Well, you said 6 million barrels, right? So I think Dogfish Head here is forecasting 298,000 barrels, so 300,000 barrels this year, just to put that into perspective.
Yeah, the reason the $6 million ceiling is in is for Sam Adams, because Sam Adams did a lot to blaze the trail for craft brewers, and when they got really big and started producing a lot of volume, they increased the ceiling. Very few members of the association are that high. I think probably Sam Adams and Yuengling are in the millions. But you will not see, basically what you want to look for when you go to a store as a shopper. If you want to patronize your local independent craft brewers, find this seal. That's a guarantee that you're not, your money's not going to go to a huge corporation. It's going to a smaller, independently owned craft brewery. It's that simple. So I think a lot more and more breweries are jumping on the seal. There's almost 7,000 breweries now, and I think they have like 25 or maybe 3,000 are using it now. So very simple. Look for the seal, and Dogfish Head is embracing the seal. Not all breweries, you don't have to use it, and a lot of them don't want to change their packaging or they don't care about it. But I'm a big proponent of it because I think a lot of consumers get fooled by these faux crafts, and this is a way that you can be confident that you're investing in a small independent craft brewer when you see that seal. So I'm all for it. So anyway, just to recap a little bit more about this article before we move on to some more beers is one of the reasons we kind of did an episode a while back about old dog, new tricks. If you don't change, you become irrelevant. And if you're just the same old thing over and over again, people get tired of you. And in the craft beer, there's so much competition, so many different beers and breweries. It's easy to just get lost in the shuffle, and before you know it, your sales are down the toilet. So this is their way of becoming relevant. So they're going to have every market focus on those two, Sequench, the Session Sour, and the 60-minute IPA. And then each market will be able to select 3 other Dogfish Head beers to focus on in their market, which is cool because, what is popular in Missouri might not be popular in Michigan, might not be popular in California. So every separate market, the market manager will be able to work with their wholesaler network and determine what beers they think are the best fit for that market. So that's about it. I guess in closing, just look for some newer, a fresh approach from Dogfish Head. One more important thing is they're realizing that Lagunitas' sales are significantly higher than them, and they think it's probably because of the lower price point. So I think you're going to see a price adjustment where Dogfish Head might be a little bit more competitive with Lagunitas, which is good news for all beer consumers because now you can buy an independent craft brewer beer at a more reasonable price. So it's a win-win. So good luck to Dogfish Head and good luck to us for being able to, get some renewed interest in their brands and looking forward to that price decrease too. All right, so who's up next? I guess I have a Berliner. I think I'll go with that, and then Doug, you can close us out because I think you have something a little bit more substantial. So since we just listened to Dan review his nice Berliner with its blood orange, this is going to be a bit different. I don't believe there's fruit in this one. This is another iconic favorite brewery, but exclusive to the state of Wisconsin for distribution. New Glarus Brewing Company. Berliner Weiss 2017. So I'm going to crack this open. So again, we were talking about how some of the more sessionable styles are in vogue now, and Berliner Weiss and Kolsch are 2 examples of that.
Originals.
Yep. Now Berliner Weiss is usually a slightly tart, but not too sour, I would expect. So I'm pouring this, and it's got nice tiny bubbles, almost like champagne-y bubbles, but the head almost instantly disappears, and you got almost like it almost looks like champagne here with all these tiny bubbles coming. It's the same appearance as that Kolsch. It's just a nice clear, pale straw yellow, maybe just a very ever so slightly hazy, but you can see through it, just a little foggy. Really not much on the nose at all. Very, very little, maybe a little bit of a fruity, like a pear aroma, slight fruit. So I'm going to take a taste. Wow. It's New Glarus just never, ever disappoints. And this is really interesting. It's honestly, it almost tastes like champagne. Just like what it looked with the tiny bubbles. You get that really nice burst of effervescence in your mouth. Very, very, it's like it got a little bit of a dryness to it. It's very, very slight tartness, almost none. It's not a pucker up at all. It's just maybe like a little bit of dry tartness. So I'd almost say it tastes like a champagne or a dry cider, a sparkling cider. It's really, really enjoyable. I'm going to queue up. I'm going to read the label is so tiny I can barely read it, but the same message is on their website, so let me read this. A few times a year, we cut Dan loose to brew whatever he chooses. Is that you, Dan? Always handcrafted, the bottle you hold is brewed for the adventurous soul. This is a very limited edition. We make no promises to ever brew this style again. Napoleon hailed this tart beer style the champagne of the North. A lively and elegant masterpiece, this Berliner Weiss is a kaleidoscope of fresh flavor. Barrel fermentation, Riesling grapes, and Wisconsin white wheat are bottle fermented with 5 proprietary yeast strains. A connoisseur's rare jewel, both spirited and subtle. Enjoy your sparkling toast under summer stars. Flavor, lively and tart. Foods, pan-fried whitefish, perch, lobster. Cheeses, Gouda, Farmer's Brick. And dessert, lime sherbet. Yeah, I'm really surprised. I almost hit this on the head. They call it the champagne of the North. It honestly really reminds me of champagne. And it even said Riesling grapes are in here. So, yeah, it's not what I expected it would be. I expected it just to be a nice, typical tart, slightly sour Berliner. This is a jewel. I'm sure, Doug, you're not surprised. New Glarus is always a hit.
Yeah,
I've never had a bad beer from them.
They're always on point with everything they do, and they don't go over the top with things like with some of their IPAs and things like that. But they're more than make up for it with when they do their fruit beers and their Berliners, and they seem to just have that perfect knack of finding a good balance with everything they make.
This is like drinking a glass of champagne. It's better than champagne. I don't really like champagne, and I like this.
Well, I would say you've never had the good stuff then.
Oh well, I have. I used to sell, so let me rephrase. Yeah, there are some good ones.
I just had a buddy that was up there. He has family from here in Missouri, up in northern Wisconsin. So he made a little couple-hour detour to make sure he went to New Glarus, Wisconsin, and. Yeah, we had a good phone conversation while he was there, and I didn't know at the brewery they would have so many different unique things for sale, different unique bottles for sale. But unfortunately, he was able to hit up a few different spots around town and scavenge me up an extra 4-pack of strawberry rhubarb, along with some other goodies.
So yeah, our dear friend and comrade, a fellow beer nut, Uncle Pete, was just there recently, within the last few weeks. Okay, well, I think I'm up with the very last beer we're doing this evening, right?
Absolutely.
And I have another collaboration. This one is called Ora et Labora, and this one goes north of the border into Canada, which is perfectly acceptable for the show because we've done many Canadian episodes, or a few Canadian episodes. We probably should do another one. But this one's from Toronto, and it's Brunswick Beer Works. And this is in collaboration with Trappist Brewery Koningshoven, which is also better known as La Trappe. So, and that is that Dutch or is that Belgian? Do you guys know for sure?
I'm pretty sure it's Belgian, but I'm not 100%.
Okay, all right. So it's Ora et Labora translates as pray and work, which is the creed of the Trappist monks. The beer is a 7.5% ABV New World Double Bock and was brewed by the Trapp's brewmaster Ludwig Schwinkels alongside Brunswick Beer Works master brewer Christian Reimerschmid von der Heide. Hence the German beer. Let's see. I'm going to read the rest of the site if you guys don't mind. The collaboration weaves traditional Kreuzen fermentation with a mighty malt bill and a unique blend of Opal, Laurel, Mandarina Bavaria, and Ontario Newport hops sourced from the Americas and from Europe, bridging the two worlds of brewing. This recipe is designed as a double bock in strength. The ingredients and process with re-fermentation is like a wheat double bock. However, the fermentation yeast is like a Grand Cru. So, very interesting stuff. And one more note here, La Trappe is honored to donate proceeds from the sales to the Kayatera Project, its relief effort for the Kayatera Hospital in Uganda. They apparently treat a lot of people with a lot of really bad issues from that country. So, great cause. So, and with that, let's get into the beer.
Just very quickly, it is a Dutch brewery.
Okay, that's what I thought. Being of Dutch descent, I think I'm going to like it a lot more now. It pours like a very dark copper color, almost chestnut, with great clarity. Sort of a medium head on it. It's been sitting for a while now, and it's well warmed, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, long-lasting head. The nose of it is kind of toasty and bready, maybe just some caramel malt, and you get some sweetness to it, but a little bit of earthiness to it, and some type of spice. I mean, almost like a light cinnamon spice to it. So right up front, it's just a really pretty strong toasted bread and dark malts. You've got a little bit of sweetness to it, and some earthiness, some spicy hops, and it's just a nice slight bitterness at the end. I know those German Mandarina hops are they have some decent bitterness qualities to them. So, man, it's just the taste is incredible. Mouthfeel's somewhere around the middle, and just a little bit of stickiness, some alcohol warmth to it. And then I'd say overall, this is really a easy drinking beer. Now that it's warm, you're getting some of the alcohol and the spicy notes from the malts out of it. There's a great complexity to this, and in my mind, to open a can of beer like this, because it is in a can, and to get out of it this just blows me away. I mean, this usually a beer of this quality is just reserved for a Belgian bottle with a punt, or some kind of amazing embossed glass bottle. And it just to have this come out of a can, I mean, it wasn't cheap. I think it was right around the $4 range for the can. And I was like, oh no, what am I getting here? And then I started to read it. And I'm like, I couldn't wait to try it. And it definitely delivers amazing, amazing beer.
Sounds great. You picked a couple good winners tonight. I think all of us did, really.
Yeah, it took me a while in the store, and I'm glad I didn't feel like I was rushed. I got these at Off the Wagon, which is around the corner from the house. It has a great single selection. And apparently the Deschutes had just come in. Asked the guy if he tried it. He said, no, that's on the list for tonight. And then when he saw the beer I had, the other one I had, he was like, what is that? And I went, looks like a double bock. And he goes, oh my God. So I got to rush back there to see if I can get a couple more. Hopefully I can.
Awesome. All right. Well, good stuff. It looks like we're almost to the end of October and September. One more week. Next week we get to open up and actually go to Germany. So let's search out some good ones.
I gotta let you guys go. I will not be joining you next week. I will be on a plane to Las Vegas. I will be with you in spirit.
Lost wages.
Yes.
Lost wages. So, and I believe maybe Uncle Pete's on with us next week.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I will go to the Yard House and have a craft beer in your gentleman's honor.
Hey, everybody, let's all drink to Uncle Pete. You know what? I got a postcard from Uncle Pete today. He sent me a postcard from Seattle, from I think it was Pike Brewery.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I saw that he was
I've been there.
Yeah, so cheers, Uncle Pete. We miss you. We look forward to having you on next week, and even more look forward to you returning home at some point. But his journey around the country is continuing. I think he's in Portland now.
Yeah,
he's in Oregon. He was going
at the Shoots.
Yeah, he was in the smack dab middle of Oregon earlier today.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. We get to live vicariously through him with beer pictures posted online every now and then. So keep the pictures coming, Pete. We miss you. We love you. Look forward to having you on next week. And Chris, don't blow your gambling allotment too quick. Make it last. And by all means, look up if you have a chance to go to Aces and Ales, one of the premier craft breweries in Las Vegas. If you can't get away to Aces and Ales, then you got to go to the Double Down Saloon and get a bacon martini.
Ooh, I like bacon.
Yep. Or you can get a shot of ass juice too. That is their house shooter, which I believe is kind of random alcohol, and you never know what you're going to get. But when you go to the Double Down,
juice.
It is the dive bar of Vegas, and if you like dive bars,
it's a punk bar.
It is. You know, it's stuff written all over the walls. You know, they got some craft beer in there too. When I lived there, that was one of my favorite stops all the time. You know, so the Double Down Saloon, but in Vegas, seek it out.
Noted.
Ass juice shooters, bacon martinis, craft beer. They got it all, and you can even gamble in there. I've hit a royal or two in there on their machines. All right, so we digress. Let's, I think, talking about Vegas, the next stop after that is Mexico. So, everybody ready to go to Mexico City?
Ready.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
All right. Well, Chris, you want to do your Twitter this and Facebook that?
Yep. We're on Twitter at Beer Nuts Podcast. We are on Instagram at Beer Nuts Podcast, and our email address is beernutspodcast@christophermedia.net.
And we'd love to hear from you. So, Twitter out an idea for an episode or a beer you'd like to have us review. Hey, we will respond one way or another. So, as they say in old Mexico City,
AMF.
If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook by searching for Christopher Media. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
This podcast is brought to you by Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce. A great sauce starts with the best ingredients. Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce is that great sauce. Inspired by our founder's original recipe, Ragu Old World Style Traditional Sauce is made with delicious ingredients, including vine-ripened tomatoes, chopped onions, garlic, and olive oil, simmered together for the authentic taste you and your family will want to come back to. For recipes, sauces, and mealtime inspiration, visit ragu.com.
Of all the streaming services out there, only one is different. Discovery Plus. It's the greatest collection of real-life entertainment on the planet. 55,000 episodes of food, love, true crime, home, from networks like TLC, HGTV, and tons more. Yes! With stars like Chip and Jo, an exclusive new series from 90 Day Fiancé, all in one place. Bam! Discovery Plus. Stream now. Stream what you love.